Hey everyone, it's Marianne and welcome back to Cacao Culture. Thank you guys so much for all your feedback, especially from the natural hair removal video. Today I'm gonna go over the most frequently asked questions from that video, and let's begin. So I have all your questions right here, so I'm just gonna go through them one by one. Okay, so first question. Does it work? Yes, this method does work. I use it all the time. It's my go-to method for everything. Everyone keeps on going back and forth. Does it work? Does it not work? Yes, it does work. Question number 2, does it hurt? So like all hair removal methods, yes, it does hurt because you're still pulling out your hair from your armpits or wherever you're applying this wax on. But to be honest, like when I use it on my armpit, like the first stroke obviously hurts because you're going from a neutral state to like ripping off your hair. But every subsequent pull doesn't hurt because that area becomes numb for me. So honestly, and from all the other methods I've used, this one was the less painful for me. Next question is, can you use lime instead of lemon? Honestly, I haven't tried it with lime. I don't see why not. So if you already mastered the method and you prefer using lime, definitely feel free to do so. Next question. Can you use brown sugar? So I would not recommend using brown sugar because for the untrained eye, it'll be difficult to tell when the wax will be ready, because with white sugar, you can clearly tell when it goes from yellow to that goldish color and then move on to the next step. But with brown sugar, it's a bit harder to tell for somebody who's not used to it. But also brown sugar is white sugar mixed with molasses, so it could affect the success rate of your wax, and it would just be easier if you just went with white sugar. Many have complained that your wax comes out too hard. Why is that? So the most likely it's because you guys are cooking it for too long. So when you cook it for too long, then it becomes really hard. So just make sure to cook it a little less. Also, sometimes if you leave it out too long when you're doing the whole bringing in the edges step, if you leave it out too long, it will harden. So if it gets too hard at that point, you could always kind of reheat it so that it becomes softer, and then you can play with it. On the flip side, some of you say, my wax comes out too liquid, what am I doing wrong? So if it's too liquid, you're putting either too much water in the process, most likely you're not cooking it long enough. So make sure to cook it till it becomes that golden color that I recommend in the video. And honestly, if you've tried all of these remedies and it's still not working, you could use it as a liquid wax. It works just as well and it's natural as well. So just literally take that liquid, put it in a jar and use it as liquid wax. That's also a great alternative to not waste all these ingredients. Another reason why it might be too liquid is because you put too much water on the counter, or you're putting in too much water in the stretching out process. So remember, on the counter, just put a thin layer of water. Don't put too much. And also when you're stretching it out, you're literally just barely wetting your hands just to stretch it out. So after the cooking steps, very little water is needed. So some of you are saying it's too sticky. Again, it will always be sticky. Even if you make it well, it'll be a bit sticky. Just make sure to have a bit of water on your hand so it doesn't stick to your fingers. And if it's like too liquidy sticky, then again, it's probably you're encountering, you didn't cook it enough, and basically what I said for the liquid applies for the sticky reasons as well. The commonalities between it being your wax coming out too hard, too liquid, or too sticky is because the most important step throughout this wax creating journey is once you finish cooking it, pouring it on the marble surface. That's the most important step. I cannot stress this enough. That step will determine whether you succeed in doing it or not. So when you pour the wax on the countertop, make sure that you give it enough time for it to cool. You don't immediately start bringing in the edges. You kind of give it time to let it cool, harden a bit. Then you slowly bringing the edges little by little. In my video, I did some editing. I didn't make it as long, but that whole step takes a long time. So just bring it in slowly. And honestly, it's a matter of just learning as you go. You'll know when it's getting too hard, you need to go faster. And when you see that it's still liquid and it's not solidifying as you bring it in, that means you need to give it more time to harden. So again, it's playing that game. But honestly, if it's too liquid, you're bringing in the edges too fast. If it's too hard, you let it cool too long. So it's really about playing with it and just getting acquainted with learning how to mastering this technique. So another question is, can you use this on your legs, your arms, your face, and private/bikini areas? Yes, you can use it wherever you want on your body. Just be ready to incur the pain of wherever you're applying it. I personally use it for my armpit area, bikini line, private area. Those are the places I use it the most. When your hair is really thin, it might not work as well because in the areas I mentioned, my hair is very coarse, so it's easier. It's really effective because the wax has a lot of hair to grab onto. But like for facial hair, which is thinner, it might not work as well because it doesn't have as much to pull on. So that's the only thing with using this wax. Why do you have to put it in the fridge and for how long? So again, when you make a batch of the wax, there's enough to go for at least 3 applications. So all you need is one piece of it. You don't need to use all of it for that one-time use. So any excess wax that you have, you can refrigerate to use it at a future time. So do you have to heat it for the next time you use it? Yes. So for the wax that you put in the fridge, if you want to use it at a future date, then all you need to do is take the piece you need. Well, it'll be hard. So just take it out, put it on wet the surface of the plate a little bit, put the wax, put it in the microwave for about 20 seconds and play with it and see how, basically add time or less time as you see fit till it becomes liquidy and basically not as solid for you to be able to use it. So yes, definitely reheat with the microwave. Few seconds should be enough, 20 to 30 seconds. You could do 10 seconds increments, etc., etc. Also, if you're in a situation where you're using the wax and it gets hard as you go, just literally put it on the plate, pop it up in the microwave for like 5 to 10 seconds for it to soften, and you could keep on using it, and that's perfectly fine as well. So last question, if I don't have a marble surface at home, what do I do? So what you need is just a smooth surface. You can use a granite surface, any ceramic dish, a pan. You have so many options as to what you can use. Just make sure that the surface is smooth, and that's all you need. You don't need to have a marble countertop. You can do it in a ceramic and all the things I mentioned previously. Thank you for all your feedback. Please let me know if this video was helpful so I could do more of these in the future. And don't forget to follow me on my social media below. And thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more on cacao culture.
I'm keeping that.